Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly transformation reading, where we've been taking a card from this deck that I'm working on with the creator, and it has 7 stacks. The first stack that we're looking at is the emotional fire, and what that has is it'll have an emotion, and we'll look at how we can transform that emotion from being one of an uncomfortable emotion of fear into one of unconditional love and joy and peace and laughter. So we'll go ahead and jump in. I've been taking the cards out as I've been going, so for the stack we're getting down to just a few here. So let me just kind of shuffle these up in kind of a way so it's all random, and we'll see what the creator wants us to look into this week as far as our emotions. All right, there we go. And it is the emotion of grief. I know this last couple of years especially, we've lost a lot of people for many things. A lot from disease, viruses, wars, unrests of all different kinds. And so I know a lot of you have had this come into your lives, and my heart goes out to you. I know it's one of our biggest challenges in this life is to deal with the empty spot that's left in the physical world when someone has stepped away. I mean, grief is really all about that empty, like I said, that empty feeling, because though we are very powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings, that's really who we really are. As these humans, we came here to experience what it might feel like to miss someone, to have something missing from our lives, to feel these deep, deep emotions of grief, and it's not something that we're really prepared for. We never want to face our mortality. And we hope that we're going to be the ones that go first before anyone else, so that they have to deal with it and not us. In a way, right? But we definitely experience this, and we know, that it is one of our biggest feelings of heartbreak in our life, the biggest feeling of pain in our heart, whether it's, losing someone you love, like intimately, like your partner, your spouse, whatever that might be for you, or losing a child, which is probably one of the most difficult, I would imagine, to face, because you do have this thing in belief in your mind that you're going to go first, and we have this belief that parents should never leave before their children, or their children should never leave the earth before them. And so it definitely is one of the more difficult, painful grief emotions to deal with. And even if it's not due to death, we might have lost someone that has left our life, either voluntarily or involuntarily. Like, they were in the military and they had to go overseas, and so they are not with you in the physical realm, which is what this is all about. Is they're not there physically in the room with you. They're not physically in your life, or they broke up with you and they're no longer want you in their lives. We have all sorts of different griefs that we deal with. Even our fur babies and our feather babies, we have these bonds that we grow so deeply with those beautiful beings of unconditional love that enter into our lives for a purpose, on purpose. But in focusing on the passing, what the creator gives us here is, this not gone, just not here. And it shows the spirit. This is who we really are, those powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love. And though we're out looking and seeing that they're no longer with us, they're right there with us. And it's beautiful. One of the things that I am so grateful that I get to experience in this lifetime is I have this connection with the spirit world. And I believe it has a lot to do with my birth chart in astrology, because I've got like water out the wazoo, which, is our emotions, and our a lot of it's in Pisces too, which is the connection to the other side, and to our that frequency of which spirit speaks. And we all have that ability to be able to hear and to be able to still feel and experience them. And so for me, death is so different because I continue to feel the people's presence, and I continue to feel a connection to them, whether they're in this world or not. And even I can spend like a week by myself, and now I even realize that I'm alone, physically, because I feel so connected to all the energies of all these beings that are all around. And all I have to do is focus on an individual, whether they're here in the physical realm or not, and I'm immediately connected to their presence. And it's amazing because I can think of a friend that's in another state, and I can feel the love, I can feel their presence, and we all have this ability, which is amazing. We just are taught to suppress it. We're just taught to focus so much into the physical world that and especially with all the fear noise that goes on, it's very difficult for us to hear the whispers of love when we're in that crowded, noisy, fear bar where the music is blasting and you can't even hear someone that's a foot away from you talking to you, right? And so the amazing thing is, when we realize that they really aren't gone, they're just not here in the room with us. It's almost like this, like if someone's in the other room of your home, even though they're not in that room with you, they're still there, right? And that's how this works, because they're still in your heart and they're still existing. And whether they are in the other room or 1,000 miles away or light years away in a heavenly place, we can connect with them no matter what. And where I started to go up before I went on bunny trail, what I love about my experiences of being able to connect to people who have lived here in this lifetime and have gone to the other side is they tell us what such wonderful things. And I have over this last year connected to several people who have passed, and for other individuals. And one of the biggest things that they always want us to know is that the second they leave the physical body, they've reconnected and opened up to their higher self, which has always been there anyway. And like the Creator, they can be everywhere all at the same time. They're not bound by time or space. And so they don't have to share, I'm going to be with my, my spouse and my children, and if my mom and dad are still alive, I'm with them. They don't have to take turns. It's not like divorce where you have to have visitation and arrange when you're going to be with what person. You get to be everywhere all at once, and they immediately get to be there with you. And so instead of being limited by space where they can be around you, they are always around you from the second that they leave their rental car. It's funny, they call the human body, these are rental cars. We've just been renting them, and we turn them in because some people ask, well, do they care what I did with their body? And they're like, no, once they turn the rental car in, they don't care what you do with it. It's not theirs anymore. They're totally connected to all these amazing abilities, one being everywhere all at once, and so they can be everywhere and then be on all these amazing adventures in multiple different dimensions and across the universe, and so many beautiful, places that they can go and places that they can be. And one of the other beautiful things that happens is once they are disconnecting from this veil where it's almost like having a cell phone with internet capabilities, but you don't have a signal. And that's what happens when we come down here. We're cut off from all that knowledge and all that awareness that the Creator and everyone on the other side has. They're know-it-alls. That's what omniscient, I think, means, right? They're aware of everything. And once we disconnect from our rental cars, that we get the strongest signal ever, and we're immediately connected to the giant heavenly internet, and you get to experience every single one of your loved ones in this lifetime. Anyone, not even your loved ones, you can connect with anyone's like their history and their futures. And one of the beautiful experiences I had is one individual was like, they were like, it was amazing for them, the person that had passed, because they shared that they were able to feel every emotion that their spouse felt all the way back to their birth and even into the womb. And then they were able to also feel every emotion that they're going to feel into the future, which that kind of starts blowing our human minds. But we're like, what? Okay, focus back here, and they were also able to understand what their spouse was thinking every moment, all the way back to their birth, and every decision that they made all the way back to their birth. And they had this beautiful understanding of who this character was that their spouse was playing in this lifetime. And they see how every thread of every individual is connected in this giant tapestry. And so, all those times in our lives when we're like, I don't know why this is happening, but there's got to be a reason, they're like, psh, immediately they are able to understand all of that. And so it's very comforting, and they wanted me to share that because with all the passings that we're having and all the people that are leaving our lives in the present day, they want us to know that even though they're not in the room with you physically, they're always in the room with you. And their spirit is there, giving us love, giving us unconditional love. And they don't care about all these decisions that we make and all that, because they're beyond judgment. They're beyond all the petty emotions of fear that we come here to experience. They're, literally above it all, and they are beings of unconditional love. And the other thing that comes in, sometimes we have guilt around not grieving for people because we're glad that character is no longer in our lives, And it can be where, if there was any kind of abuse and different things like that, or even if they murdered, someone that, a dear one of yours and everything else, that was not them. That was just this character that they were playing upon this earth. And though it's hard to understand why that these things happened in your life, eventually you'll understand, either during this lifetime or after, why it was designed to be in your life, why that experience was within your mission to be here in this lifetime. And, we needed characters to play in this drama, in order for us to feel what it might feel like to be powerless and victimized. We need a villain in our lives. And we're all beings of unconditional love and light on the other side. And so to come down here to play that is so opposite of how we exist on the other side. And what they showed me is, if you ever... of course, most of us watch TV shows or read books or something, but it usually has to do with like movies or TV, where there's this character in there, and usually, every drama has a hero, a villain, and a victim, right? And so there's always some sort of villain, usually in most movies or TV shows, right? And you're like, oh my God, you just start gaining this anger and unhealthy feelings towards that character, to where you believe that that character is real. But then you see an interview with them, outside of the character, outside of the movie, outside of the TV thing, and all the cast is together, and they're all busting up laughing, and they of course ask the villain, the person that plays the villain, the actor behind the character, they're like, how does it feel, being so mean and being so brutal and blah blah blah, and they're like, oh my god, it's so uncomfortable because it's so not me, and everyone's like, yeah, she's like so loving, she even apologizes to us after a scene because she feels so bad on how she treated us for the movie or for the TV show. And that's how they feel and how it works. And so sometimes, we still will get connected, and we'll still get signs and messages from them from the other side, whether it's people that we have that, thank God they're gone, or I wish they were here. Regardless, they wanted us to know that they're always surrounding us with messages of love and support to let us know that they're there. But when we step away from our grief and step away from the fear noise, that's when we can hear them. You can hear them. They come in your dreams. You start recognizing things, whether it's a song, license plates, something you find, just know. And even when you aren't even thinking about them at all, and suddenly you have this memory, just be like, come out of nowhere. It's because they touched your brain to have you remember them and that they're there. And there's so many other ways that they contact us, but they all wanted me to share all that information with you regarding this. And just know that as you go through this week, if you have been experiencing grief, just try to take time to breathe and come back to the moment. Focus on unconditional love, joy, peace, even laughter. And if it's difficult to not think about their passing because it's so fresh and new, try to focus on the beautiful, joyful times you had with them. And when you go and sit in that moment, then listen. Talk to them. They're always listening. Whether you can hear them or not, they're always hearing you. But if you want to hear them, it's about getting to that place of quiet, that place of unconditional love and peace and joy and laughter. And that's the frequency at which they speak with us. So just know as you go throughout this week that you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things and by a massive host of beings of unconditional love and light, and especially your loved ones that you interacted with here on the planet that are on the other side. Just know you're never alone. They're always around. So until next time, hang in there. I love you and have a great week. You take care.